I wanted to do this live because I was called out by a brother. And it's always interesting being called out. Um, because, and let me get my phone together while I'm trying to talk to y'all, because this is definitely not a good intro. But it's always interesting being called out because I called somebody out yesterday. And the person I called out was actually one of my Muslim brothers. And so I can't say I mind it. It is what it is. And so I was sitting here and I was thinking, right? It was the brother Lecrae. He put out a clip, and the beginning of this clip, it was a young lady asking, "Why do all of the Christian nationalists have the same religion as black people?" Then it cut to a clip of myself talking to my good brother Third World Little Blood from the Bay Area. Shout out to my good brother on his podcast, which is now probably a couple years ago. Which is interesting. They got that clip. It might have been a short clip that they pulled. And in that clip, I was talking about how a lot of black men have white Jesus tatted on them, right? And this disconnect between this idea of white Jesus. I don't know where the full broader conversation was because that conversation happened a long time ago, right? But I know I have a lot of Christian followers. I have a lot of Muslim followers. I mean, a lot of people I work with, most of them, a lot of times are Christians, right? And it's interesting. And in the clip, he has a brother, and I don't know who this individual is, but he asserted false claims about Maswar Muhammad, right? For those who don't know who Maswar Muhammad is, he is the one who taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for 3.5 years, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad started the Nation of Islam from there on. And so in the clip, he asserts that Masfar Muhammad, right, is a white man from Europe, which is interesting because Masfar Muhammad is not a white man from Europe. He is a mixed man from Mecca. And when I think about our Christian brothers and I think about black Muslims, they have something in common actually in that regard, that both of them have what could be considered a savior from the Middle East. And so I don't think it's so odd that black Muslims in America believe that a man came from the Middle East, gave them knowledge of self, taught one amongst them, raised him up. And the reality of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad done is the Nation of Islam and the ripple effect that that had on the consciousness of the planet Earth, right? And so by definition, you have to perceive that for what it is. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is one of the greatest businessmen, right, in American history as well. He was the one that built the greatest economic blueprint that actually thrived during our time. And so I think what we really have here is this case, right, of and why black Christians and Muslims almost never get along. And I don't think they realize why they don't get along, right? And why they always arguing. Because Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a quote that said that we can argue about religion when we're free. And I love it. I love that quote. And Minister Farrakhan, he said something. He said, "I'm a Christian and I'm a Muslim," and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, "When you have true knowledge yourself, right, and you understand that religion, then you can see it in someone, right, whether they calling themselves a Christian or Muslim, right." And I believe that to be true because there's a lot of people with faith but not understanding. And then I had to think about as I'm getting called out by an individual, right, who obviously wants to bait me into a debate or back and forth, whatever it is, but he's mocking what he considers to be my belief. And of course, he's doing it with lies, but he probably doesn't know that or obviously doesn't care because this had to go through the editing room, thought this was a good idea, and said, let me challenge the Nation of Islam, which is in the 30-year anniversary of the Million Man March. And the Million Man March was a movement, right, of 1 million plus black men. It was Christian leaders, Muslim leaders, entertainment, athletes, all came together. Why? It was a central idea of atonement and unity. And at a time in 2025, 30-year anniversary, we actually need that more than ever. So if y'all notice, y'all have never seen me argue with a Christian man about religion before. And there's a reason that I don't do that. Number one, I am not a religious scholar, right? There's a brother named Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Now, he is a scholar, and he can give you a full education and breakdown so that there is no mistakes. And I think he's one of the best representatives that the Nation of Islam has when it comes to giving one enlightenment on the knowledge, right? That comes from the Nation of Islam. And so when Jesus was mocked, though, by Roman soldiers, you understand me? He said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And the thing about Muslims is we believe in Yahweh. We believe in Jesus, right? Chapter 19, verse 19 is one of the first times it talks about the birth of Christ in the Holy Quran. And when I think about Christ consciousness, of course, we have different interpretations of things, right? But I think about when a person ascends to that level to where they're in complete alignment with that higher consciousness. And what we don't see oftentimes is, yes, Yahweh, I am, I am. What we don't see a lot of times is you don't see a lot of like Christians and Jews having these kind of conversations. And the reason we don't is because in psychology, when things are familiar, there's a fear of replacement. So there's this narcissism that happens within Islam and Christianity, right? Where Black Muslims and Christians want to go fight their Christian brothers, and Muslims want to fight, right? Or Christians want to fight their Muslim brothers, and Muslims want to fight their Christian brothers. We just go back and forth and argue, all while someone else is running things around us. Because I thought it was interesting that they put in a clip about Christian nationalists. And of course, the young lady, she was posing a question that I thought was pretty idiotic because, I'm a little more studied than that. But the problem in America is Christian nationalists right now. The problem in America is not Black Muslims. The problem in America is not 19 Keys. So I would think that we would have greater things to do with our platform, especially when you have this great platform, to influence your Christian brothers than to be more Christian, be more Christ-like, be like Jesus. Jesus stood with the people in the streets. He stood against empire, and he stood with the revolutionaries. Most people operating on what Paul would do, just have faith and that's enough. But it actually requires action. We're living in a time where we actually need to have a rebirth of this Black and this Christian alliance, where we figure out how to work together. The mosque, the churches, they need to all come together. They just made it legal for the churches and religious institutions to legally be able to back a politician. That means that they can get political all they want to. So it's no reason not to. We are also in a 100-year anniversary of the rebuilding of Black Wall Street. That's right, I said the rebuilding. This was a time where most people never talk about. Nobody ever asks, who built Black Wall Street? Was it a Christian? Was it a Muslim? And at that time, and I'll drop the video, they actually did a whole parade. And it was a showcase of their resilience. See, there was so much more unity because they understood that there was something bigger. That their open enemy didn't care whether they was Christian or Muslim when they stopped them. No. They have a fear of their rise, point blank, period. They had Martin Luther King in the book. They had Malcolm X in the book. They had Stokely Carmichael in the book. They had Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the book. They wasn't saying whether the Messiah is going to be Christian or Muslim. They just had a fear of the Black Messiah. One who had that persuasion, one who had that community, one who had the ability to rile up this Black nation and get them to act civilized and get them to do for self. One of my greatest friends is a Christian. My brother Mechi. He's behind all of the high-level conversations. And I just posted up about who I think is one of the most fierce cultural warriors, D1. Oh, and he's a proud Christian man, but he's a real Christian man. I love the action because I think he's Christian in his actions. I'm not a perfect Muslim by far. That's why I never say, hey, follow me in my religion. I'm all about getting a culture together. When I dropped the post about Gilly, it was about the generational divide, not between Christians and Muslims, between the youth and the elders and how we need to focus on collective thinking. So I know the post may have been about, getting me to go back and forth on religion, but honestly, if y'all want to know the truth about 19 Keys, I don't care. The best religion is to treat people how you want to be treated. It's the golden rule. It's found in all the books. I don't care about debating someone on who's right or wrong. Our good brother Billy Carson had a debate with a white Christian scholar, and they considered him to lose that. And after that, the whole Christian world emerged against him. He's the false Messiah. He's this. They was at him. He went a whole entire tour. I took down the great Billy Carson. And then there was a bunch of people saying, well, actually, you was wrong as well. And I used to think about it. I used to say, man, debates are interesting because it's about who's more right at that moment, not who's actually correct. Right? Because in a debate, you really got to be prepared to defend your point. But it's not about truth. Similar to in the courtroom, who can put up the best argument, who can make the best defense. And so Christians and Muslims have debates all the time. Just because you win that debate in a moment don't mean you actually right, because somebody of superior knowledge can make you seem like a fool as well. And that's what we go back and forth. Growing up, they used to call it intellectual masturbation. We're just trying to get off on whoever seems like they the most right. If you understood, like I understood, that they literally want to put you in physical and digital slavery. They don't have a plan for just Black Muslims or Black Christians. There's a plan for Black people. I don't remember ICE saying, which ones do you use, Christians or Muslims, before we take you? I don't remember Peter Thiel. He's a white Christian. He ain't trying to figure out, the techno-feudalists ain't trying to figure out, do we decipher between the Christians and Muslims? The greatest moment, I think, in Black history was the Million Man March. If there was something that inspired people, I think Jesus would have loved it. He would have seen all those people together for the focus of coming together in atonement in a peaceful manner, treating each other as brothers and sisters with love and respect. Man, that would have made Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? And Jesus shed a tear. Martin Luther King would have been like, oh, I see the mountaintop. Malcolm X, that's right, brother. And so I think that we're probably most likely just immature and a bit of narcissists. We fear the familiar. See, Jews don't even claim to believe in Jesus, but we don't argue them because theirs can't replace ours because they're so dissimilar to us. We don't think that that's going to be a choice of replacement. It's just the psychology of what's too familiar. But we don't even think about it like that. Yes, Muslims believe Jesus is a prophet, and he's mentioned in the Quran a lot. He's loved and beloved. But I think we get so much into semantics, so many into these angles, so many into perspectives, that we miss the point of religion in the first place. It's to get man in alignment with self, the highest self, getting man in alignment with God. It's not to create debates and problems and conflicts and issues. And the people that's at war with the world can't afford to be at war with each other. It's a lose-lose battle. You may not agree with the Black Muslims, but they are a net positive for the community. A net positive. I posted just the other day about the gang truce in Chicago. The reason that I got connected to that, and it's funny, the reason I even spoke in Chicago, Sabina Church asked me to fly out there and come give a speech. And it was my Muslim brother, Luqman Muhammad, who connected me to the preacher out there so I can go speak to our people in the streets and walk with them and help their cause. And my brother Golden Child is in a movement called the Unity Movement. Black Muslims, Black Christians, right? Coming together to try to stop the violence, the abhorrent violence that's happening in the streets where we killing each other, where we used to go fight the system. We used to try to figure out how do we stop them from killing us. Now we trying to figure out how do we stop from killing each other. And it's indiscriminate violence. Christians killing Christians. That's the problem. And sometimes there's Muslims killing Christians and Muslims killing Muslims, but not because they're Muslim or Christian. Proximity, blood cycles, feuds, ignorance. And nobody talks about the net positive that Islam is happening on the gang culture in Chicago. What a lot of brothers are thinking twice and wanting to change their ways. And going on a deen and praying salat. And finding another path of discipline outside of the streets. But because they don't follow who you want them to follow, you got a problem with that? That to me, I think is a sickness. That to me, I think is a sickness. Whether you can beat 19 Keys in a debate, you know what I mean, about religion, that shit don't matter. You win, matter of fact. I'll give you the win. But can you beat me in having an impact for our people? Because I'm out there with them brothers. I see the brothers that's locked up in prison and tell them how I'm helping change their life and they're in a more disciplined path, having a financial or spiritual, economic or physical impact. Can you beat me in that? That's the debate. Because I've been one of the most influential thought leaders of our generation. Beat me in that. Let's debate there. That's only. Debate with the actions of how we helping our people. Debate with who's being more like Christ. Who's being more like Jesus, not just who's following him or who's saying they follow him or who calls him God. To me, that don't matter. I think we got a sick culture. And I think our generation can do something different than what the old generation did, which is just debate about theology. I think we have already been through the revolution. We have all of the tools that we will ever need to make change. This tour that I'm doing is not 19 Keys tour. It is about the Renaissance culture, because a Renaissance means rebirth, a rebirth of culture, a reawakening. A reawakening of the values that we need to be installed in the culture, because where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Who's the pastor that can call all the pastors together? I would love to see the church do that. And then when all of the pastors get together and unify all of the Christians, because I seen Jamal Bryant calling out the other Christian pastors who sold out to Target for $300,000. They bought like 30 churches or something crazy for a couple of $100,000. And now I see a pastor got to call out another pastor. And it's like, man, I would rather see the Christians come together. And then when they come together, I want to see the Muslims, the Sunnis, and the Black Muslims come together. Then I want to see the Christians and the Muslims come together. Now that's a day they fear. That's a day they fear. You think I choose my brothers based on what's their religion? Nah, that's not how I choose my brothers. I choose my brothers based on those who want for themselves what they want for me. And they chose me based on me wanting the same thing for them. Because that's what matters. When I have my tour, it's going to be Muslims and Christians. It's a rebirth, and it will show all of us together. It will show all of us building, right? It will show how we have a cultural change and an impact on our economics, our entertainment industry, of us owning our culture and have a cultural sovereignty. It will show us decreasing the crime rate because we're given an alternative solution, an alternative lifestyle. It will show us gaining physical discipline and wellness over our body, replacing the rituals of death and bringing life back into the culture. Being similar to how Martin and Malcolm was. Martin met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's a beautiful picture of Martin meeting or Malcolm meeting, Martin meeting with Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when I was younger, I had a misunderstood perception of the strategist that Martin Luther King was. But the problem is that he died shortly after that because he started focusing on economics. He said after the civil rights movement comes the black power. I don't think we ever got that from the church yet. For our Muslim brothers, we can get better on our economic blueprint that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad set forth. That's where we showcase our greatness. Because we lagging behind. We lagging behind in our technological supremacy. We're lagging behind in learning our commerce. We're lagging behind in our collective economics. Some of us are doing it, but not enough of us are doing it together and being intentional about it. So this is a message to all of us that we all have improvement and we should focus on that improvement within. And I'm guilty of speaking on our Christian brothers. I'm guilty of speaking on different spiritual groups and things of that nature. But what I'm saying today we got much bigger problems. Because those who are against us, they have one religion. Their religion is power. Their religion is power. And they don't want you to have none. So I want y'all to hear me clearly. All my brothers as Christians, Muslims, Moors, Hebrew, Israelite, whoever you are out there, I have no venom towards you whatsoever. It's a call for unity. Because it's unite or die. They're not coming after just one of us. They're coming after all of us. So we have to save ourselves through unity. Today I had a whole nother message that I wanted to get through. I had a whole nother message that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to come on here and talk about Bitcoin and crypto and talk to y'all about the tour and what we doing and gotta sell tickets and all of this stuff. But sometimes a lot pick my subject. He been telling me to focus lately. I understand that I hold position in culture, so calling me out feels like a good clout to chase. But I gotta say, what would Jesus do? Forget them, Father, for they know not. Keys is different. I'm a brother you can talk to. I'm a brother you can build with. You know what I'm talking about? But if you don't want to build with me, I'm also a soldier. I'm also ready for war. But I'd rather call in peace before I call in war. You know what I mean? Because a brother that calls to unite, that's a real brother. I think we got common enemies. Peace to the family. Share this with somebody else. Pull up. What is our generation's Million Man March? And then afterwards, what's the infrastructure and structure of what we can do that gives us clarity on how to move as a community, how to move as a group. The Japanese have a business structure that they call a karatsu. And it's when companies come together and they invest in protecting each other, specifically for times like this, that they have the resilience. And I believe that this is a time that we're living in now. Snoop, Nas, Wallow, they all said the same thing to me, almost verbatim, that we all have our way. We're doing different things, but we're in the same fight, essentially. And I hear that message, and I receive that. But there's no reason that we can't do it together. That's when it actually has the most effect and impact. Because our greatest issue is our lack of communication. Our greatest issue is that we're in competition with each other. Our greatest issue is our lack of unity. My brother pointed out something. He said, John Hope Bryan had said that Black people's problem is that we've mastered culture and entertainment while other groups have mastered commerce and capitalism. And it's interesting. And John Hope Bryan is somebody who is a Zionist, and he really believes in the Jewish cause, and he believes that Black and Jews should work together. But Israel is a socialist system, and they have a lot of power. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see that kosher mark, they have a kosher mark on there because that's licensed out and it makes money, and that money is utilized to go back into the culture. They have these systems set up on the back end on how they look out for each other. But see, the problem is that we can use capitalism, but when we become capitalists, we're just in competition with each other. There cannot be unity amongst a bunch of capitalists. We become Machiavellian, shrewd, ready to step over the next person at any, no matter what it costs to get your way. And I don't believe that we've mastered culture. I believe we've mastered the entertainment. But culture is complexity. Culture is consciousness in motion. So culture is complex. It's not one thing. We've turned entertainment into culture. But culture is economics, spirituality. It is your media, right? Culture is your entertainment. It is a multitude of things that you can look at to grade a culture. You don't grade a culture by how great of entertainment they are. What's their economics? We haven't mastered culture. We have mastered aspects of culture. And other cultures have mastered us. So when we currently have a low functioning culture, we've mastered low functioning culture. When we had the Million Man March and the brothers was out there building economic blueprints when Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a $500 million empire, that was high functioning culture. When hip hop was a reflection of culture and instead it became cannibalistic. Well, hip hop only reflects hip hop. Hip hop only reflects hip hop now. They just talk about themselves. They used to talk about fight the power, F the police, and fight the system. It was a reflection of not just the drug dealers, but the activists and revolutionaries. It was a reflection of all the environment of culture. It was a reflection of the dance, the movement, all the things that was happening. But now hip hop reflects the industry. It reflects the emotions. What happened? So therefore, we don't even have a real genre of music. I was talking to my brother Simba about this, that, rapping is not a genre, it's a skill. And right now we have a lot of rappers who are not in the genre of hip hop, but they have the skill of rapping. And we let a lot of people in because they have the skill of rapping and they reflect the industry of rap, the skill that's monetized and capitalized. And other cultures benefit off the degradation, off anti-blackness. You can disrespect your sister, and the main enemy in hip hop is who? The main enemy in hip hop is you. It's a black man. Drill music is about hunting other black men. It's the KKK's dream. That's not hip hop. We talked about the 50th anniversary of hip hop, but it was really, well, we're in the era of rap. Hip hop definitely is dead in its practice. So the reawakening of the spirit of hip hop is not a bad thing. But I'm listening to Future. I'm listening to other rappers. We was working out, listening to rappers, and I said, man, you know what's crazy is that the rapper always disrespects the rapper. You talk about effing another rapper's girlfriend, how rappers ain't nothing, how you a slapper rapper, how you don't trust the rapper. And it's like, damn, y'all wonder when people don't trust y'all and disrespect y'all and come at y'all. Well, in your music, you're training people to hate you. No other profession on the planet Earth trains their audience and programs their audience to hate them. A doctor don't say don't trust doctors. A lawyer don't say don't trust lawyers. A rock star don't say he hates other rock stars. R&B fellas don't talk about how they hate people in R&B. Only rappers promote self-hate. They hate other rappers. He ain't talking about how he don't like the labels and how he don't like how the system treat us. He don't like the environment. He don't talk about he don't like the mentality that men have. He just hate the man. It's so simple-minded. And because we don't have a time to think, we just want to vibe. We just want to vibe. Non-thinking music. And when you don't think, there's no consciousness, and you're the easiest to be manipulated and controlled. There's some great young men in our generation who I believe represent the rebirth of hip hop, like our brother LaRussell, my brother Bashir, my brother Simba. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick Lamar is definitely hip hop. You know what I'm saying? My brother Lareezy, my brother, what's my brother? My St. Louis brother, man. I'm mad. I'm forgetting my brother's name at the moment, man. I'm overthinking. Come on, y'all, come help me for a second. I was just with my brother. But there's a lot in our generation I think represents the renaissance of hip hop. But AJ McQueen, my brother AJ McQueen, yes. My brother Free Soul, there's a lot of them. The problem is this. They just put out the list of top 100 most influential. There's a thing called brand safe. Brand safe is essentially saying, are you safe enough for brands to put money behind you and stand with you? My brother LaRussell, he be standing on truth, so sometimes he might not get an opportunity that somebody get. They cut him out of a festival because he was like free palette. You know what I'm talking about? So it doesn't matter if you're actually influential. It doesn't matter if you actually talent. It matters, are you safe enough for them to get a stamp of approval on you? And what does that really mean? Because when they start giving you awards and they start praising you, they start controlling you, saying that if you don't keep doing these things, right, and you don't stay in this brand safe box, then we won't let you in the room no more. They control you with this access. There's only like 1 to 3 podcasts in history that's ever been long form without a single sponsor that's gotten over 70 million views, and mine is one of them. But the Boule Black organizations ain't never gave me no credit. It doesn't matter that I'm more influential. Doesn't matter we have more impact. Doesn't matter that we do things greater. No, what matters is what's brand safe. So when I see lists and I see awards, I don't really give credit to those things or credence to them because they don't represent reality. That's why we want to put together our own list of who really is the most influential, not who's the most influentially brand safe. I think that's what matters the most. And that's a big problem. And that's something that we haven't, as a culture, admitted. And a lot of people don't know how this game goes, but I do. I've been in it long enough to understand it. So I don't want you to think that because you're not getting recognition and praise for the things that you're doing, that you're not who you really think you are, because you are. But sometimes you're not getting the recognition, not because you're not doing the right thing, but you're doing the thing too right. When you're too righteous and too real, that's a problem for them. And that's when you have to be exalted. And that's when the people show up for you. That's when that authenticity shines the best. Because now it's about who the people stamp, not some organization and some list, some boule ad dollar spend. None of that matters. Because you got to understand behind everything, there's people. And when you understand the game, you're not mad. We got to rebuild our own world. We have to create our alternatives for everything. So again, this is the era of the Renaissance and Harlem Renaissance. It was the artist that led it. The artists created new music. They created new paintings, right? They had a representation of the culture, but this time we cannot just do it just with the art, but we do it with the ownership. We have our own lobby systems. We handle our own politics in-house. All of these things are possible. All of these things are real because now the thought leaders are not disconnected from those who have the infrastructure. That's when an intentional culture starts to bloom, where one person can produce the influence, the grassroots, the other person has the knowledge of the infrastructure. Then another person brings in the resources and funding to make sure that the whole thing works. Because when one person is isolated from the resources or infrastructure, then nothing moves. You see great influence and you see consciousness raised, but then you don't see anything produced from it. Because we stop having benefactors in our culture. And then instead, the elders start competing with the young men that had the potential, send them as a possible replacement. And instead of trying to help your potential shine so that the culture can move forward, behind closed doors, they really hating on you. Those are the things we break. Those are the things we kill. And the culture that we rebuild, it's a culture where, and this is what our generation gets to decide, that the Black Muslims and the Christians, they get along. We on some collective mindset. We build together. We share information. Y'all working at corporations, you taking that information and here, this is how they doing the contracts over here. Boom. Behind the scenes, we leveraging all of that for our own play and our own investment. We look at how other groups create lobby groups instead of just voting, and they control and buy politicians. We run the play from there. We run new economic models, not ones that's based on capitalism and competition, but cooperation and collectivism. Therefore, we all eat and we all win because our people are dying from a lack of jobs and opportunities. And not only that, we can't build a culture of liquor, of weed, of gambling. Because those are the things that rob our mind and our consciousness and our willpower. Sure, you can decide what you want to do with your habits, but I mean as the those who spend the most money in the Black community, go look at those podcasts, the gambling companies, the weed, and the liquor. Obviously, something needs to change, and it's at our habits and our ritual level because Hollywood sold us our rituals, and that became our identity. We watch Hollywood movies on how men drink alcohol. You understand me? And you drown yourself in problems and you're drinking another beer. The liquor industry lobbied Hollywood to do that. They paid them to create those scenes and create association. It was all programming. Then a rapper sold you your favorite drink, the liquor, the Cavassier, the Hennessy, the Grey Goose, the Ciroc. And you thought it was the cool thing to do. They didn't sell you nootropics and adaptogens, and they didn't tell you about all these other things you can do to help your brain focus. So now we have a culture where black men have the greatest rate of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, suicide, depression, financial nihilism, and poverty, and stress induced poverty. And we want to sell them things that actually make the problem worse. Is that a brother? Why? Because those are the companies that's giving those black men money. So when we see them win opportunities in a war, we clapping for them. The whole time they success is based on our failure. Their success is based on them selling out. You. You're the victim at the end of their success. And sure, you might do some turkey giveaways, might do some good in the hood, but is it a net positive? And so that's why part of what we're producing is a cultural renaissance to where we can be sold something else because our consciousness has shifted. And I've been telling people this for years. My success, high level conversations is a top 0.01% platform in the world. Nothing like it, but it represented a signal that we was thirsty for intellect, thirsty for change. We wanted to hear high level conversations. Now, if I became more successful, everybody be like, oh, I need to do that. And we are the reason why there was dozens and dozens of podcasts that popped up. And we spread this consciousness all over the planet Earth, from health to science to economics to financial literacy to technology to Web3, right? We really dived into all of these areas, and it's changed people's lives for the better. And I'll be honest with y'all. I thought, and I was naive, I thought the elder black man would recognize the work that I was doing and they'd be like, man, I want to help fund this operation. I like what you're doing. I thought they really cared. But that never took place. It's still possible, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and that says something because when I look at the Charlie Kirks that go on the college campuses to shift the mindsets of these children for political reasons, they got benefactors behind them. They got people who give them money so that they can do this, shift the consciousness for political reasons. What do the young black man got when he does the right thing? Who can we go to help greenlight things? That's why we got to have each other back. Because that other generation, a lot of them gave up on us. They gave up on themselves. So it's up to our generation, from all religions, backgrounds. We have to be the ones to unite and build out different institutions and different alternatives. Because when you understand what they got planned for you, you understand it's your time to prepare for your own plans. And the beauty of that Renaissance in Harlem at one of the darkest times, man, they look good. Just when they thought it was over for black people, man, we came up with the jazz music. We had new art. We had our threads. There was financial and economic prosperity and growth. It was a renaissance. It was a rebirth. We was back alive and outside because we are the most resilient people on this planet Earth. And nobody got us if we don't have us. That's our duty. Us first. And once we got ourselves together, then we can look out for anybody else. But us first. When we got this shit together, we can go debate, argue, and do all these things y'all want to do. And I created a debate show. But I just don't think that that's what I'm for. I'm here to exist to help uplift our brothers. And the only thing I don't like doing is destroying the black man that I'm not willing to replace. So if you're not going to replace me and how I assist in the lives of our people, and you don't even think about the effect that I have on our people, you just want the clout. That's evil and it's weak. What would Jesus do? He just went against empire. He was a revolutionary. I like that. I think that's the Christ consciousness that our culture needs. Listen, I need y'all to join this renaissance, and I need you to treat it like it's yours, because it is. I need you to show up because we're putting together this movement. This is the movement of our generation. It's either now or never. If we don't unite now, if we don't build now, if we don't come together under these systems now in new structures, then we lose and it's game over. Because as a people, we only got 1 year max before it's mass implementation of their plans. Don't wait to get this ticket. I need y'all to show up. Tell people to show up. This is the Million Man March of our time. For those who streaming on YouTube, those who streaming on Instagram or Twitter, go to 19keys.com/tour. And once you join in, we're actually going to put you in the community, our digital community, so that we're connected before we go on tour. And you're going to begin access to things behind the scenes as well. So we're not waiting to the day of. We're building now. And I need to know who are part of this movement. If that's you, if that's your family, and you want to know how your family should move moving forward, if you want to start feeling like, if you don't know this, today is the shortest day of the year. Very interesting. They say that the earth is slowing down. Not by a lot, but it's interesting. Because most people feel like this. Most people feel that the future is rushing them. Everything is coming at you. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to calm and like get clarity and focus on things. There's a new tool every single day. And I remember when we was young, we used to be like, man, when is the future gonna come? We was painted this picture in our imagination about the future. We was like, man, when we gonna have flying cars and when we gonna have all of these things? And now we got more future than we can deal with. We like, slow down. Slow down. As a futurist, the reason I'm never shocked about what's going on, because I practice future scenarios, right? And we think about what we would do when these things happen. And so we have clarity. Each stop, I want to share something different with you all. There's a message for each city that's different. We're going to give you the plans, what you can be a part of and what we can do, right? As a people, to go through this thing with clarity, to slow down time to where we feel like we have time to execute, to build. Because I know what it feels like out there. I know when you're scrolling and you don't have no time. And I know people telling you, use AI, invest in crypto, do this. And you're like, where do I have the time? And nor are your rituals ready for the future, because you're still operating rituals that allow you to be successful maybe in the past. Maybe you could smoke a blunt every day in the past. Maybe you can drink a little bit, every once in a while, every other day in the past. Maybe you can go out to the club in the past. But we're in a different time. And when you have knowledge of the time, you change your actions based on the knowledge of that time. We are in a cosmic renaissance. Things are aligning and other people understand that this is a time of rebirth. That's why they say make America great. What? Again, they're rebirthing their movements, and this is a time of our rebirth. And if we act accordingly, we're going to be all right. We're going to be more than all right. So you have to change your rituals to fit the time, similar to somebody fasting when there's a full moon. Or there's a full cosmic shift, and I'm going to need you to change things at levels that you never thought was possible. I'm going to need you to look yourself in the mirror and be like, damn, you're different. You're working out, you're slimmer, you're clearer. You wake up and your mind has the capacity to deal with things at a level that I never thought was possible for you. Your imagination is clear like when you was a child and you used to get all of these ideas that came to you. Because with the AI, it can do the work for you, some of it. but it can't do the thinking for you. It can't do the imagining for you. You have to tap back into that aspect of yourself. Yahweh means I am. Yahweh, Yahweh. I am, I am. I am. That's the power of the imagination. You have the ability to say, then become. But when you say I am, what is the blank that fills in? I am what? I am what? We have to speak to ourselves in an affirming manner, and we have to imagine the reality in which we want to have happen. Because if the future is doom and gloom inside your imagination, the most powerful imagination on the planet Earth, the most powerful place to hold ideas and give birth to them, then we have a terrible future. But if I can get your imagination to believe and give birth to an idea of our future and our renaissance and our awakening, to where we see ourselves ruling and owning and having cultural sovereignty, then that future will happen. That's what this renaissance is about. It's about rebirthing our culture, our dream, our vision. The American dream is dead. What is the Black American vision? What is our vision for the future? This is not the time to ask. This is not the time of just the master teachers, the time of master builders. I'm not coming by myself on this renaissance. Shout out to my brothers over there. My brother Deontay Cowell is going to be at the Atlanta stop. My brother Yaki Awaken is going to be at a few stops. It starts, Lil Mama, it starts September 3rd. So, Rico Jones, I'm not with no division. If you go back to listen to this, I'm with all unity. People may try to get me to be divided. I'm only divided against those who are against me for doing the right thing. If that's your problem with me, then we can go to war. I don't have no problem with that. I grew up in the ranks, but I just want unity for my people. I just want us to have cultural ownership and power. I just want to see my brothers healthy. I want to see us wealthy. I want to see us free. I want to see my mother and my father at 100%. I want to see my brothers and sisters and my aunties and uncles at the healthiest they ever been, and have the ability to travel and experience life. You understand me? And experience to see the future change in a way that they never thought. Not from a technological standpoint, from a cultural standpoint. I want to see the generation before. I want them to see us do everything that they wish they could. That's what I want to see for us. I want to see us make shifts that we never thought was possible. I love us way too much to ever give up on us. You know what I mean? I don't have days that's dark, but I never have days where I stay in the dark, because darkness is an arc. It is just to get through. In dark times is where we give birth, because we're all born in the darkness, and you got to go through that pain in order to give birth. So that dark time that you're going through, nobody sees it. Nobody see you cry. Nobody see you suffer. Nobody see your anxiety. Nobody see the pain you don't share and the mask that you do. But you have to know that it's for something. Don't give up on life. Don't give up on this future. The best times are yet to come, and you don't want to miss out on this. I'm telling you, the best times for us are yet to come. Don't let them take your imagination and use it against you by you incubating their ideas in your mind. Don't do that. Reject their idea of the future and respect your own. Respect your brother, respect yourself. There's somebody right now that's thinking about taking revenge on somebody. Don't do it. Forgive yourself, forgive them, not for them, but for you. Give each other grace, give each other space. Forgive them, for they know not. Hey, that's what Jesus did, right? They mocked that man. He say, Forgive them, Father, for they do not know. I think that if we practice what Martin Luther King did outside the culture, inside the culture, I think we'd be all right. I don't think there's a problem with sometimes calling each other out, sometimes having constructive criticism for the point of elevation, but we have to have our intentions together. So this has been a stream, you know what I mean, of appreciation, of love to our people. I'm just your brother, an imperfect brother that was born the way I was born and raised the way that I was raised to be exactly who I am today. I couldn't do nothing else but this. This is what I was made for. This is my frequency. I'm looking forward to you shining and producing your potential in reality and seeing your frequency as well. I'm going to see y'all at the Renaissance. I'll see y'all there. I want y'all shining and looking good. I want y'all looking good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Put it on. Show up. I mean, put it on. You know what I'm talking about? Put it on. Put it on. Well, I mean that though. You know what I mean? All of the smell goods and everything. You feel me? Step into the future with me. You know what I'm saying? I refuse. I refuse to be a pessimistic sucker about reality, man. I refuse to allow them to have me just stuck in this bleak, jaded sense about reality to where I'm just trying to bully my brother instead of fight the real enemy. And most of the real enemy, it ain't some person that's standing in front of you blocking your blessings. It's you. It's the way we eat, the way we think, the way we feel about ourselves. It's the actions we don't take that we regret. It's the lack of love that we have for ourselves and each other. That's the reality. That's it. So when I say save yourself, I'm talking about unifying and changing the habits that you live. I'm talking about preparing your mind for what's to come. We will not only survive, we will thrive, and we will build wealth, and we will evolve. Peace, family, peace, and love. For those who want to help sponsor the tour, to sponsor this Renaissance and have things to add, you can email us at 19keys@19keys.com. We actually have a sheet as well that I'll drop inside of our chat here on Instagram, right, to where you can be a part of this. Again, this is not a me movement. This is our movement. I'm just a person that's starting it to help us make this possible. If y'all will see a lot that we do behind the scenes, I'm meeting with the coach. I'm meeting with all of us for us. I'll leave on this. There was a lot of disappointment at the Essence Festival because we felt in our darkest times there was not enough focus on our light. I love my African brothers and sisters. You know, the Essence magazine and media company was started as a representation of Black culture. Show us thriving, show us and represent us. And people going through dark times, we look for ourselves. We want to be represented. We want spaces that make us feel joy and safety. And I think that there was a lot of tone deaf because the owner, Richard Liu, he's an African brother from Liberia. So when he says the culture, he don't mean Black American culture. He does mean African culture, a larger diasporic representation of it. And I think he missed that point. Here in America, Black people need spaces that's for them, that represents them. And we invite everybody else into that space. Because when we celebrate us, we're celebrating everybody that benefits from the culture and the resilience, right, from this space that we've built. I would love to see that event thrive because it does employ a lot of us. But when you're challenged and your original values and why people are aligned with those values disappear, then you will also lose your base and you will lose the community. And so be careful. All of you Black media platforms, you're afraid to be Black. You're afraid to represent Black culture. You're afraid to create these spaces that celebrate us because you're afraid of losing money from these advertisers. because you scaled it based on capitalism and not based on culture. And so I see some people harshly criticizing, and we should, because this is not a time where we get to play with this thing. This is a time where we have to really show up and represent ourselves at full speed, 100%. And for me, I'm on that. I'm representing us. And anybody that love us is going to love us and celebrate us from who we are, what we've been through, and where we going. That's the Renaissance. It's cultural Renaissance. So we have a lot of cities that's on the list. Go to 19keys.com/tour to see if your city on the list. And make sure you're getting your ticket now so you can join the community and get access to the Renaissance as it begins. Peace, family. I look forward to see what you will be adding to this tour as well, what you'll be adding to this Renaissance. Is it a Renaissance of art, music, business, right? I want you all to, and I'll put some information as you're studying what a Renaissance is. I want to see what you're adding to it. Take ownership of this time that we're living in. Peace to the family. Peace to all my Christian brothers. Assalamu alaikum to my Muslim brothers. Shalom to my other brothers. You know, talking about whatever language. I greet you in peace and unity. Peace to the family, man. I see y'all on tour. And please grab your tickets now, not later. For those who are online, all you have to do is scan that QR code, and that will give you access to 19keys.com/tour.